Hey guys, how's it going? This is Indie Pride from Milk and Cookies Total War, bringing you another Total War Warhammer multiplayer battle. Today, I am playing as Chaos against my good friend Hero. He is playing as the Dwarfs, and we're getting a good look at the Aspiring Champions, which are one of the 3 new additions to the Warriors of Chaos roster. Very interesting unit, kind of fills out a nice little niche for the Warriors of Chaos. Only cost 500 gold, have AoE attacks, have an Encourage aura, and they have Vanguard deployment, which is kind of useless for them, but they are a nice unit to send into melee when supported by other cheaper units. So the Aspiring Champions definitely have a place in the Warriors of Chaos roster. They look badass, as you can see. Look at those swords. They have one of the coolest looking models in the game right now, and I think supported by other infantry units, they can definitely do pretty good work for you and are quite cost effective as well. I brought a Chaos Lord on a Tzeentch Dragon, and we've got some Hell Cannons out here. Exalted Hero up top on a Manticore. Now the other additions for the Warriors of Chaos roster were the Feral Manticore, which doesn't have a rider, and the Marauder Horsemasters. I haven't used the Marauder Horsemasters at all. It's a kind of niche unit that I don't really feel like matters a whole lot for Chaos, but the Feral Manticore can be nice if you want to kind of establish some air dominance for the Warriors of Chaos. So I have these Hell Cannons as well, and I'm going to be trading some artillery fire with the Dwarfs across the way. Bunch of Warriors of Chaos have 3 Armored Trolls, Forsaken in the back, 3 units of Aspiring Champions, and a bunch of Chaos Warriors with great weapons. Of course, I need all the armor piercing I can get when I'm facing off against the heavily armored Dawi. Across the way, we have Hero, who has 3 cannons, a Gob Lobber, and a Grudge Thrower, I believe. So a ton of artillery presence on the battlefield today. He has a Master Engineer buffing them up, and he has High King Thorgrim Grudgebearer. Now, I was talking about this in my last battle. They have the Book of Grudges, which gives +8 melee attack, the High King ability, which also gives +8 melee attack and immunity to psychology, some charge bonus, and weapon damage as well, all across his line. And then he also has the Master Rune of Stromny Redbeard, which is with the Runesmith, which also gives +8 melee attack. So basically all of his dwarf warriors and units in his army are going to be getting +24 melee attack, which is a massive buff, especially in a ultra funds battle, or this is actually large funds with large armies. So basically he's going to be getting massive buffs for his entire army, and that will definitely help him out. He's got some dwarf warriors, a bunch of armor piercing units, long periods with great weapons, and then Slayers in the back. These are the Dragonback Slayers. They have an AoE slow ability, and they make units that they engage get less resistance rather to fire attacks. So they're a very good unit, and they also have charge defense as well. So when you charge into these guys, they can resist the charge a lot better. Peak Gate Guard over on this flank, really powerful magic attack hammer unit, one of the best infantry units in the entire game. More Slayers over on this side, and let's get a look at the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. Where are they at? We got more hammers here. Out on this flank, we've got the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers. Amazing color scheme on them. The crimson and the gold just looks absolutely fantastic. Also have the old Grumblers with their AoE stamina buff for all units in that AoE. So pretty powerful armor piercing unit, and he just has so much armor piercing on the field. And look at all of that artillery going off right now. So we're going to get into the battle right now, and you're going to see that my Hell Cannon is just going to take an absolute punishment here as the Grudge Thrower and the cannons fire in. My crews are going to survive for only a few seconds before they just completely disappear into the dirt. They're going to get ground into little red paste, and that is not going to be fun for them. So I'm going to have 2 Hell Cannons. I cannot trade in this arty fight. I kind of expected it to happen, but it's basically going to be 2,200 gold down the drain, or 2,400 gold down the drain from the start. Both of my Hell Cannons are quickly going to get taken out, and that sucks for me. Out on this flank, I have Dragon Ogres and a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth moving through the trees silently, or silently as a Dragon Ogre can possibly move. You can see them now. This looks really awesome, by the way, in this forest here. These guys are going to be really useful for me, just giving that mobility in the back lines, just shutting down the cannon crews, the quarrelers, and all the other stuff. Got to keep them moving, though. He does have 2 Slayers, so I have to be very careful how I use the Shaggoth and the Dragon Ogres, but they can do a lot of work for me if I micro them effectively. So I just need to close into melee as soon as possible. All of these artillery crews just going to be doing so much damage to me. But he is targeting, he's basically doing counter battery stuff right now. He's not actually focusing on any of my infantry, which is probably a good thing in a way. I mean, the held cannons are super expensive, so losing them is never going to be a good thing. But the fact that I can get my entire melee line into combat without taking any losses is going to be pretty nice. So I have my Chaos Sorcerer, or my Chaos Lord, up here on the Chaos Dragon. He will be very useful with all that mobility and that armor-piercing damage to get into the back line, just cause a bunch of havoc. And also have a Chaos Sorcerer, a Fire Sorcerer, who only has Cascading Fire Cloak and the Flaming Sword of Ruin just to buff up my guys. I didn't bring any DPS with him because I feel like well, I don't need it really. And it's not going to help when there's a Runesmith on the field. So I just want to get as much damage, AoE damage, on my troops as possible and help them cut through all of these heavily armored troops for the Dwarfs. Hero's going to start out by trying to snipe my Lord. Scummy dude. And I'm going to pull him away, get him out of combat, and then start sending up my meat shield. So the Chaos Marauders with great weapons will be the first ones into melee. They will get shredded by the Quarrelers, but they are just a meat shield to soak up some fire as I move up. They're getting absolutely shredded right now. And I might be able to even tie down some cannon crews. Heroes moving them kind of slowly away. Might be able to get into melee there. But the rest of my great weapon units are moving in. And here come the armored trolls. Now, typically you want to leave these guys behind a great weapon unit or a meat shield unit so that those guys are the ones taking the damage. And the armored trolls aren't the first ones into combat. But in this case, I'm just going to charge straight in to the great weapon dwarfs and start cutting them to pieces, and these armored trolls are going to make pretty short work with them. They have AoE attacks, they look amazing, and they actually have decent armor. They have bad leadership, but they will pound these guys into the dirt. Now these armored trolls I was going to send in to the dwarf warriors, and I was like, why am I doing that? Send in the great weapons first, and so this first line is going to clash, and I'm going to start cutting through heavily armored Dawi. Then the armored trolls will follow up. Thorgrim, Grudgebearer getting into melee combat. And here come the Aspiring Champions. So, this is exactly how you want to use the Aspiring Champions. Keep them supported by other units that are in front of them, and then with their AoE attacks, they'll still be able to do damage and take much less damage. You don't want to send them in first, or they will get destroyed by pretty much any infantry unit, but when backed up by stuff, they can do really, really well. And we'll see them go to work here for a few seconds. AoE attacks doing work against the Longbeards and the Dwarf Warriors. And here come the rest of my stuff. Exalted Hero on the Manticore, getting ready to land, tie down some Quarrelers in the back, but he does have Slayers over on this side, so I gotta be pretty careful. And the Chaos Dragon has also been committed. The Dragon Ogres and the Shaggoth in the back lines, going in to try to tie down some of those cannon crews. Did decent damage there, but the Slayers came in to reinforce, and I definitely need to pull away here. Slayers are really fast. They're actually not that much slower than the Dragon Ogres, so I definitely have to keep my guys moving in the back lines or I'm going to be in trouble. Norgrimling's Ironbreakers are tossing their blasting charges into combat, and with all of my stuff tied down there and kind of blobbed up a bit, these guys are going to do quite a bit of damage. I managed to kill this cannon crew. You see some of my Chaos Marauders moving into a flanking position. Big shot coming in from the Ironbreakers. They do a lot of damage there to the back of my Chaos Warrior unit. And now the Chaos Lord is just kind of on overwatch, overseeing the battlefield, seeing where he can land. I really want to go for those cannon crews and the Quarrelers in the back, but Hero's doing a really good job of keeping his Slayers in good positions to block charges and prevent me from doing too much damage. I have pulled out with my Exalted Hero and my Dragon Ogres to start smacking these Dwarf Warriors, or these Quarrelers rather. I should be able to rip through them relatively easily. Shaggoth looking super awesome right now, slamming them into the ground. And now in the middle here you can see Cascading Fire Cloak, 36% armor piercing damage and plus 36 melee defense going off right now. Flaming Sword of Ruin, as soon as it comes off, cooldown, will again get put on this blob right here. That'll give all of these troops a lot of extra damage and magical and fire attacks. Forsaken getting cast the Rune of Wrath and Ruin on them. And the Runesmith is a serious issue. I've got to start doing damage to him, or he's going to buff up his army way too much. So Runesmith is always going to be one of those targets you want to go for early on in a battle. Try to take them off the field as soon as possible. But they're really hard to kill. The damage negation and all that, the extra armor from the Rune of Oath and Steel makes them pretty difficult to cut through. So Not always the easiest thing for sure. Chaos Lord just kind of pulling through everybody, slamming them, and the Aspiring Champions and the Armored Trolls have made it into the Old Grumblers here, who also have an amazing color scheme, and they will be doing their best to hold out. So my Aspiring Champions are actually dropping at this point, and they're probably going to go down over on this side. The Shaggoth is now going straight. Shaggoth, I say both sometimes. He's going to go straight for the Runesmith and start doing a lot of damage to him. But it looks like the Rune of Oath and Steel plus 15 armor is going to keep him in the fight for a little bit longer. And I don't know why he went for a different unit, because I did not give him that attack order. Might have gotten hit by one of those Longbeards and decided to go for them instead. But now my Chaos Lord is going to drop on top of the Runesmith, but he is backed up by all these Hammerers, and I don't want to leave my Chaos Lord in there for too long as his breath weapons go off, because he is a big target and he can get smacked on by a lot of different units. So definitely don't want to leave him in melee for too long there. Quarrelers are starting to focus him down, which is not good. Gotta pull him out, and the Exalted Hero is going to work on these Grudge Thrower crews in the back lines. Manticore slamming into the back of these Quarrelers and tying them down, preventing them from firing, which is very nice. Oh, nice little attack. They're going to throw him out into the air and drop him from 50 feet onto his head, so he's probably dead. And the Armored Trolls in the center, spewing their bile, using those AoE attacks to great effect. And people, or dwarfs rather, are getting jibbed left and right, as you'd expect when there are this many monsters on the field. So I'm cutting through in the center. On the flanks, things are not going to go particularly well for me. Chaos Warriors with great weapons have good armor-piercing damage, but they will not be able to handle an Ironbreaker unit unsupported. I need to charge into the back of these guys if I want to have any hope of dealing with them. And I think the Ironbreaker should hold strong over on this side. Chaos Lord in the center, still going to work. And I'm starting to cut through over there. But in the middle, the Dwarfs are holding strong, and they're definitely winning on the right flank. Quarrelers are in a good position from Hero here. They've got a nice firing arc. They're just kind of in the back here, getting ready to fire in. Oh, I used the wrong illustration again. Sorry, guys. And then we have Cascading Fire Cloak again going off on this blob of Chaos units in the center. I don't know if it's going to be enough to push through in the middle. The Shaggoth is still doing work. Might go for Thorgrim at this point. But now the Old Grumblers and the Great Weapon units, the Hammers, are collapsing in, and he is starting to take some serious damage. The Shaggoth is up to 56 kills. Chaos Lord in the back, doing work on the Quarrelers. Should have no problem ripping through them. Oh, I love when the Tzeentch Breath attack goes off. It looks so awesome. Very cinematic. And yeah, these Quarrelers are just going to get absolutely shredded. And the two heads are actually fighting each other right now. It's a nice little touch. Nice attack from the Dragon Ogre. And he's going to slam it down on Thorgrim's face. But I think he's really low HP at this point. Yeah, only 2,000 HP left. If the Quarrelers start to focus fire him, he's going to go down real soon. Exalted Hero is breaking, and my army is starting to crumble. It's starting to look really bad for me. But we'll see if we can maybe salvage something. Balance Board is so far in his favor, it's probably not going to happen. But the Tzeentch Dragon has more damage to do before this is all said and done. See if we can at least kill his Quarreler unit. The Shaggoth is going to go down real soon here. Oh, nice little giblets flying everywhere. But yeah, with the focus fire from the Quarrelers coming in pretty soon here, I think. And the Thorgrim just smacking on him. Definitely going to go down. Oh my, look at that. Yeah, he's going to go down. Actually, no explosions there. That might be the bug, where if Ironbreakers are on a hill, their blasting charges don't explode. I don't know if that was ever actually fixed by Creative Assembly. In fact, a lot of you probably don't even know about that bug. But that was weird. Those explosive charges are definitely supposed to blow up, and they did not. Might have been a visual bug, but might have actually just been them not working properly. So, in the shadow, or in the light of this fire here, we're going to see the Dwarf Warriors celebrating. But this battle is not quite over yet. Lighting is so good right now. All these units look so nice. Covered in blood, they are going to push off Chaos and win the battle. But we've got my Hell Cannons still alive. So let's put on double fast forward here. I was telling Hero at this point, yo, I'm sending you my Hell Cannon. Just blow their heads off with the Master Engineer. And apparently the micro is going to be a little bit too much for him. And he's not going to click an attack order. And his Master Engineer is literally going to shatter. So that's pretty embarrassing. All he had to do was click an attack order on these guys and he would have been able to snipe them all down. Unfortunately, not going to happen. So my Hell Cannon crews, who are unbreakable, are going to make their last stand here, charge into melee combat with the Norgrimling's Ironbreakers, who do not have any more of their blessing charges, and we will see what happens as they charge in. Probably not going to go too well for the Chaos Dwarfs here. Dawis are not going to have a good time. The charge is going to come in, and they're basically just going to get decapitated, dismembered, destroyed. And this last one is going to make his stand. Oh, there's no way he's going to get a kill here against the Ironbreakers. This is the highest HP unit in the game, or one of them at this point. On ultra unit size, they just have just a massive amount of HP. I think it's like 96 or 9800 HP. And they are going to kill the last cannon crew. So, Dwarfs are going to win this one with the micro with the Quarrelers in the back. And the counter batteries at the start just destroying my Hell Cannons. I am going to lose. I did think the Chaos Sorcerer with Fire made a pretty big impact on the battle. No kills, of course. I didn't send him into melee. But with the Cascading Fire Cloak and the Flaming Sword of Ruin rotation there, certainly made a big impact on my Chaos Warriors and Forsaken who were fighting in the center. My Dragon Ogres did 19, not very good. 58's okay. 63, probably not worth it for a unit that costs 2,000 gold. But at the same time, they also soak up a lot of damage, which is part of the reason why you bring those monster units. Exalted Hero, 101 kills on Cannon Crew and Quarrelers, so definitely made a lot of disruption in the back. Chaos Lord did alright as well, 82 kills for him. Aspiring Champions, nothing spectacular. Don't really expect anything spectacular out of a 500 gold unit, but they do encourage, and they do have the AoE attacks, so they can do a decent amount of DPS in melee. And again, they look badass, which is always a nice touch. So Thorgrim, not a lot of killing. Actually, we can see here, Hell Cannons, yeah, 0-0, so 2,400 gold down the drain, not ideal. But my Armored Trolls did very well, 125, 79, and 105, so they did very nicely. I like them versus Dwarfs. It's hard to bring them on lower funds. They're not super expensive, but on a normal large funds game, I don't know if they're necessarily always worth it because they have such low leadership, but they definitely did work for me in this battle. Master Engineer, or the Runesmith, always doing so much work. The Master Engineer doing a lot of work for all those artillery crews, which actually didn't do that much damage, but they counter-battered me so well. And I mean, even taking down 2 Hell Cannons is just a good trade. None of them got a massive amount of kills. Quarrelers didn't do too much, because I disrupted them pretty well in the back. But the PK Guard, 90. Norgrimling's Ironbreakers, 169. And all his armor piercing just across the line. Managed to carry the day for Heroes. So hope you guys enjoyed that one. Again, more of a cinematic battle. I have a lot of ranked battles coming up soon that will be a little bit more tactical in nature. And again, with the Ultra Funds battles, you don't necessarily have to sacrifice too much on what kind of units you can bring, but it makes for a much more cinematic experience. So I like to have a balance of both. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. I'll be bringing you some more content very soon.